This is Lagers and Loudmouths, Conversations Unfiltered.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to episode 8 of Lagers and Loudmouths. My name is Ty. I'm sitting here with my co-host Cam, and we have a fun set of topics for y'all today. But before we get into that, Cam, why don't you introduce what we're drinking today?
All right, I'm going to introduce a couple things. I'm going to introduce what we're drinking, and we have a special guest, our first here on Lagers and Loudmouths. All right, so today, actually, this beer goes perfectly along with our special guest because we're going to talk about GMOs, and he is a farmer. So this beer is from Trillium Brewing out of Boston, Massachusetts. How do you say that? Can you spell that?
No, I can't spell anything.
No, you really can't. But this beer is called Insert Farming Reference. Beautiful can art. It's got all kinds of hose on it. Not the hose that you see in the streets, but like the hose that you would hoe your garden with. It's got some tools on there. It is a 7.5% IPA. Yeah, we talked a little bit about Trillium a few weeks ago. We had one of their beers on. So this is not the first, but this one is brewed in collaboration with Monkish Brewing. I don't know much about them. But yeah, let's crack it and see how it tastes.
Yeah, I already cracked it. It was a little bit ahead of you guys, but man, it's solid. I love it. It's very citrusy.
Smells good.
Yeah, it's super citrusy.
Oh, that's a good beer.
Yeah, survey says.
It's a really good beer. Dan, what do you think?
I think it's really good.
Yeah, it's a super, super clean IPA, nice and crisp. Got some good fruity notes in there.
Not very bitter at all.
No, which, I mean, I don't hate an IPA, but a lot of people that'll dissuade them from drinking IPAs.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so this week we've got two fun topics, and they are geared around our special guest. Our special guest is... guest is, as we know him, Sheriff Cowboy Dan. We won't get into why he's called Sheriff, but he is Cowboy Dan because he is a cowboy, legit cowboy. He has cows, and he is a boy. So, Dan, why don't you tell us about yourself? What makes you qualified to talk about some of the topics we're going to talk about today?
Well, seeing as I am a man, and I have cows, so that's...
by definition.
Apparently that makes me qualified.
It does.
But in general, so I grew up on a farm my whole life. I went to college at Virginia Tech. My degree is in dairy science, which you don't hear that often.
Nope.
So, and then, like I said, got cows now, and that's where we're at.
What kind of herd you running?
Well, now it is beef cattle. I got mostly Black Angus,
Okay.
And a few crossbreds. Milk cows before that. So I had Jerseys, I had a couple Holsteins, and once we sold the dairy, we were back to the beef cows, and that's where we're kind of at.
All right, so he is a cowboy, and again, background in agriculture, science, dairy farming, all that fun stuff, so he knows all about this next topic. So our serious topic for today is, are genetically modified crops? And we kind of alluded this to last week in our episode. We talked a little bit about genetic engineering, but we did not take it to the route of GMOs in terms of crops. But are genetically modified crops, again, we just generically refer to them as GMOs, detrimental to human health and or the environment?
Yeah, I think this is a really good topic. I think it's going to be fairly controversial. In my opinion, I'm split kind of down the middle. I think I lean more on the side of GMOs are more okay than the general population perceives them as. But I also do think there's some... potential concerns with them that I think we can get into a little bit later, but overall at a high level, I think that's my general opinion right now.
Dan, what's your quick snap opinion?
So for me, I think it starts out with, in general, I think they're a good thing. And I think the negative connotation with them starts with what were the first ones that come out. The first ones that come out were Roundup Ready crops. So the term Roundup itself...
This scares people.
Has a negative connotation.
Pesticides.
Yeah. So when those first come out, the kind of general consensus was, well, then if their crops can grow better or cannot get killed by it, then they're just going to kill everything.
Yeah.
They're going to be spraying Roundup all over the place, which is not the truth. But I think that's where the negative connotation come with to start with.
Is that people are afraid of it. Because honestly, and it comes down to most things, I think, in life. People just don't understand the science behind it. The science is pretty clear.
I don't know if it is, in my opinion. From my research, I don't know. I'm glad you brought up Roundup Ready because that was kind of what I did a little bit of research in. And obviously Roundup, it was made by the Monsanto Corporation, $50 billion organization, did the Agent Orange for the U.S. military. They've done a bunch of stuff, but they're primarily a herbicide and pesticide forward company. I think the big thing around Roundup was the glyphosate, obviously the leading ingredient in that herbicide. And based on the research I saw, it kind of depends on who you ask. I think a lot of people are worried about the carcinogenic effects of it. And if you talk to the World Health Organization, they kind of say it's a probable carcinogenic to humans. But if you look at EPA studies, it kind of says the complete opposite. So I think it's a little bit of a gray area.
Now, the thing with carcinogenic, and I think that a lot of people don't understand, is the dose makes the poison. When it comes to pesticides, you want to know what the level is that they're allowed to use them at? It is 100 times less than what is actually harmful to a human being. That's what they're allowed to use. I mean, yeah, so I guess if you're consuming excessive amounts of it, yeah, sure, it's going to be carcinogenic. But it kind of goes back to people also think Diet Coke because aspartame is bad for you. You know how many Diet Cokes you got to drink in a day for that to be potentially carcinogenic?
Probably a shitload.
16.
Yeah.
They came out with a study last year. You got to drink 16. So again, dose is...
Well, I need to watch my Diet Coke intake.
Dose makes the poison in this case. All right, let's just quickly, though, give the people a just quick definition of what GMOs is in terms of crops are. So when people generically refer to genetically modified organisms, they're referring to crops that develop through genetic engineering. So we're literally going in. We all have genes, 20,000 of them on average for a human being. I don't know what they are for plants. It's going to vary from plant to plant. But we're literally going in and we can take out genes that we like in one plant and introduce them into another plant, which is going to make them better. You're going to get higher crop yields. You're going to get safer crops for the environment. So overall, it has nothing really to do with pesticides. So that's why my argument for GMOs is it actually reduces the incidence of pesticide.
Yeah, that, and to me, the way I stand on it is that GMOs are really, when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, is sped up, controlled natural selection.
100%.
Because if you have plants in a field and you spray it with, I'm going to use the Roundup scenario, but you spray it with Roundup and there's 2 plants that's left, well, they're going to breed with each other and their offspring are going to be Roundup ready.
Yep.
So I kind of want that's a good point. I like that you brought that up. And it kind of goes back to my point at the beginning of the show. I don't really have a problem with the genetic modification of organisms to get to a desired outcome. I think I have a problem with what that desired outcome is. Like the last couple of weeks, we talked about the golden rice with the beta carotene in Asia.
Yep.
They genetically modified it, increased the beta carotene, vitamin A, blah, blah, blah. It helped all that population with their vitamin deficiencies. That was awesome. With the Roundup Ready, I think where people are concerned about is the genetic modification is specifically designed to spray that crop with unnatural chemicals, essentially. And I think that's where the people kind of get,
The genetic modification isn't to spray, though. The genetic modification is to make that plant already resistant to what you would have used that pesticide on.
Correct. So it's going to...
So you're actually lessening the amount of pesticide that has to be used by introducing genes to that particular plant.
Okay, I can kind of see that point.
And the genes, we eat the genes all the time. You eat a carrot, you're eating the carrot's genes. We're not actually putting pesticides into their genes. We're just making a trait that some plant that happens to naturally be pesticide resistant, introducing it to a plant that might not have been.
And I think to go one layer deeper, I think to my reservation on the Roundup Ready is that the Roundup, Monsanto produces the Roundup, but Monsanto was also the one in 1996 who created the genetically modified Roundup Ready soybeans.
Yep.
So they're making crops to then benefit the sale of their own product. And I don't think anyone would disagree that Monsanto is not the most ethical company out there.
They're monopolizing the industry is what they were doing.
Since 2000, they've paid $15.6 billion in primary offense penalties, with a total of 91 total penalties since that time. So GMOs, I don't think, in my opinion, are necessarily bad, but I think when you introduce the money and the big agriculture and all those, alphabetic agencies in the government, that's where it starts to get a little sticky and some unethical things can occur.
That's fair.
Right. And I think, but what you just said right there, I think is a big proponent to this big agriculture. Okay. So I did some research and I've got some stats for you.
Let's hear it.
All right,
I'm
okay.
a numbers guy.
I want it. Give it to me.
Okay, so let's start off with this. Do you all know the average age of a farmer in the U.S. right now?
Ooh, all right, you take a stab, Ty. I'm gonna
Average age, probably 55.
I was going 57, but I want to up that. I want to go 63.
So it is 57 and a half.
Oh, damn,
And-
I was right on it. All right.
and that basically goes up 2 years every year.
Because there's no younger guys doing it.
So-
You are the exception. Listen, I know a lot of people, and I don't know any Cowboy Dans except you.
So there are 3.4 million producers of agriculture in the U.S. And the term, what you have to do to be considered a producer is very, very minimal. Okay? It's like sell $1,500 worth of something, whether it be
So I
livestock.
could be a producer.
Yeah, that is the threshold to be labeled as a producer. That is 3.4 million of the 336 million people in the U.S. So less than 1% is producing food for this country.
That's crazy.
But I'd say the 1% that
Is monopolized by probably one or two companies.
exactly.
So, and of that percentage, only 9% are 35 years or younger. So, I mean, you're talking 9%
Of 1%.
of 1%.
I don't
is
know how that.
REA.
I don't know how that maths, but that's
it,
not.
it doesn't math well
No.
for where we're headed in the country for the future.
And I guess this is kind of brings us to the argument of. I mean, how do we fix that though? I mean, in your opinion, how do we fix that?
I think that's where that comes into looking at your GMOs for yield, for water usage. I mean, if you look at where a good chunk of crops are grown is in the West.
Mm-hmm.
California being one of the bigger producers. And what is California's biggest problem right now?
Wildfires.
Wildfires and water.
Lack of water.
Yeah.
Water.
Their water quality is fairly poor out there too.
Yeah.
So if you use GMOs to where it takes 10% less water to grow this crop, then you're better off.
And that's where I think where GMOs could really make things more efficient.
And same thing with yield.
100%. Yeah.
If you can make 100 bushels of corn on an acre, if you can make 200 bushels of corn on an acre, based on the amount of land that's used for agriculture purposes right now, you need to make 200 bushels an acre.
Yep.
And that's to continue to feed the country.
And that's not just a monetary thing for the farmers. That's legit. We're going to run out of food eventually.
Well, even look at, the cost of farming equipment now. It's like if
it's
you have
crazy.
any sizable amount of land, you need a big ass tractor.
What's
to do
your
that.
most expensive piece of equipment, Dan?
You're probably a $50,000 tractor, and that's not even that big a tractor.
That's
That's a 75 horsepower tractor.
Yeah.
That's and I mean you want these
And you
big
use that for what, one or two tasks?
Well, we kind of use it
You
for
use
everything.
it for everything because it's your
I
catch-all.
don't have $50,000 just sitting around to
Yeah.
hook an individual piece of equipment up. But then go back to that. Here's another stat for you. Do you know how much farm acreage we lose per year in the U.S.?
Oh, it's
as
got to be a lot.
a percentage or as an acre?
As an acre. How many acres per year do we lose in farmland in the U.S.?
So basically, they just get sold to somebody for commercial.
Could be
uses.
commercial, could be residential, could be anything.
I mean, you even just think, I moved to Morristown, which is East Tennessee, pretty relatively rural area, almost 9 years ago now. And the amount of economic boom in just that 8-9 years is crazy. A lot of what we used to have was farmland. So I'm gonna go pretty high. I'm gonna say 10 million acres.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So it is 1.8 million acres a year is what we lose.
Jeez, all right.
All right, we're a little high, but
little
Yeah,
high.
y'all are a little high.
We're a little
but,
pessimistic.
but in general, so you've got an aging
Aging
workforce.
population. Yep.
You got less place to do it at.
Yep.
And in the big scheme of things, let's think about it. What is the only really true non-renewable resource?
Land.
Land.
100%.
well, think about it too. You said the statistic of the average age of farmers is what 57 and a half or something like that. They're getting up in age, land values are going up. If they have 10, 20, 50 acres and
They can sell that.
someone's gonna
Yeah.
offer you $50 million for it,
Why wouldn't you take
hell
it?
yeah, I'll cash in. I'm tired of working all these hours and manual labor and stuff like that. I want to take some money and enjoy my life.
Yeah. And retire.
Yeah, and kind of an offshoot of this. So, I mean, obviously, you're talking about the aging population and that it's getting older and older and older every year. How do we potentially get more of the younger generation involved in something like this?
Well, I think that is the tough question.
Yeah.
And it goes back to, first off, is the cost of doing it.
Yeah, that's true.
Is
If we can make it cheaper, then maybe it's more appealing.
that, or it's got to pay better.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact of it is
Which is ridiculous. So because I mean, guys, this is stuff we're putting into our body, and we're not willing to pay a bit more of a premium for it.
yeah. I mean, that's the real thing. Is, I mean, you can't. There is nobody, unless you just inherited a shit ton of money, that can go into farming and make
Just
a
off
living
the wall.
doing it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like if it's unless you have a generational farm in your family, it's like, man, you can go to college, get the degree in agriculture or whatever, but it's like you don't got that money coming out of college to start a multi-million-dollar operation. And honestly, that's a couple $1 million is probably what it costs to put a
Easily.
farm together, and that's probably on
That's
the cheap
that's a
end.
crap farm.
That's probably on the lower end of that spectrum.
Listen, Amos and I try to do a garden every year just because I want him to know that food doesn't have to come from the grocery store. It's usually shit. We usually get terrible yield, and most of the stuff rots. But even then, we'll spend $400 or $500 just trying to get it up and running to get what, $60 worth of vegetables at best.
You know, you're not using your resource Cowboy Dan efficiently.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I got all this land out here. I need to get some cows and some.
Honestly, what do you got? Well, how much land you got here?
Oh, we got about an acre total.
So you could get a bushel of corn. You'd sell it for $1,500. You could be a producer.
I am a producer, and I'm not.
I'm not sure where you're getting $1,500 a bushel corn, but wherever you find that at, let me know.
I'm selling my corn. This is high end corn.
I might have misspoke. We've been drinking a little bourbon along with this beer. So
This is high end corn. I do not produce that shit corn you get at Walmart's.
careful, we're gonna get a cease and desist from Walmart.
Yeah.
They can't cease and desist us. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about. I like I said, we always like to take it from a pro con and let you guys make your own informed listener decision. So I'm just going to kind of give a quick rundown of pros. If you guys have anything to add in, just stop me. We've already talked about increased crop yield. Great. Farmers get more yield. They can sell more. They make more money. The cost to us as consumers goes down because they have more yields. That's great. Again, it ultimately does reduce the need for pesticides. We've talked last week about adding nutrition, so fortification of different foods so we can actually improve the nutrient content. Fun story, that one I sent to you guys this morning about the purple tomato.
That looked awesome. I want one.
I'm going to order some. I want to know how much it costs. Just take a guess. I looked on their website.
For what, the seeds?
The seeds.
Oh man, like a pack of seeds?
Yeah.
I don't know, like fucking $45.
Not quite, but so all right. So this is. I just saw this article this morning on NPR and I sent it to him this morning as we were prepping. But there's a purple tomato made by Norfolk. It's the first actual GMO seed that can be sold to just regular everyday people. Now, normally the GMO seeds would go to big farmers, big agriculture. So this is the actual first seed that you as a consumer can buy. Listen, I'm not advocating for or against it, but I just thought it was pretty cool that is actually out there now. And what they did with this is they took the Snapdragon and they improved the nutritional content of it by adding in certain antioxidants. So yeah, I think I'm gonna order some and see how they go.
Yeah, I'd be interested. They looked really cool.
They did look cool. Let's see what else we got. Improved crop tolerance, lower production costs, crop developments. Yeah, that's kind of it from a con standpoint. So we talked about the use of pesticides, which again, it's actually the opposite with GMOs. What about we'll kind of piggyback off what we talked about last week. What about the potential argument from certain populations that we are playing God by modifying foods?
I think you really kind of split. I think we're really talking about two different things here because.
But we're not.
You are talking about life. I understand that, but I would argue that there is a difference between human life and non-human life.
Agreed.
And I think it goes back to what I said earlier about it's really sped up natural
That's all
selection.
it is. I looked it up because I was curious, like how long would it naturally take to like add a gene into a particular crop? It's 2 decades.
Yeah, well, it goes back to that article that you sent us earlier.
Yeah.
It basically took the exact same amount of time
To actually get that.
to get that particular thing.
But the thing is, naturally, it might not have ever developed into that.
No, exactly.
That's assuming that was the natural trajectory
Exactly.
of that specific species.
It wasn't, because why would
that's where the controlled comes in.
Exactly. Why would a tomato and a Snapdragon ever be in the same field? They wouldn't. So
And that kind of goes back to my point. I really like, the biochemist on the lab level doing this kind of stuff, making things more efficient, putting a desired outcome into things. That's really cool.
Yep.
Like I said, my problem is when it gets into the, business,
The big
ag.
ag ethical
But
aspect
no,
of it.
like even with the golden rice, like they solved a problem in an efficient way based on the technology that they had, and it was very effective. And I think that's a positive thing. And I think that there's a lot more of that kind of scenario that we can start incorporating into these things.
100%. All right, Dan, what's your final take on GMOs? Give us a wrap up. You are the expert here.
All right. So, the biggest thing in general, I think it's going to be a necessity to continue to feed the country the way that it's going to have to be fed with the growing population.
Again, I just added that a little bit. So I teach nutrition for my day job. It's estimated that by 2050, which, guys, is not that far from now, we will not have enough food to feed the world's population.
So I was listening to a podcast, and both of y'all know, I love the show Yellowstone. The Taylor Sheridan, the guy that wrote it, was on the podcast, and he said something in there that really stuck with me. His exact words were that if you're a country or you're an empire and you produce your own food, you're an empire. As soon as
you have to
you start
it.
importing food, you are no longer an empire. You're buying food from the next empire.
That is a good way to think of it.
I would agree with that statement.
100%.
Yeah.
Because, an empire is self-sustaining. We are not currently self-sustaining if we have to rely on other countries to get our food.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's a massive problem, and I think that there has to be a lot of thought put into what's going to happen in the next 25 to 50 years. Because if there's not, we're probably going to be in a real shitty situation.
Yeah, we're not going to have food, or we're going to be paying $14 for a zucchini at the store.
Groceries are expensive as it is.
They are. It's only going to get worse if we don't rectify this problem. And again, that's where GMOs can help.
I would say that's an accurate statement. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Have we beat this one?
Yeah, I think we covered this one well. I'll go ahead and kick off our fun topic for the day.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
This is fun.
So another Cowboy Dan special here. He did handpick both of these categories, due to him being on the show today. So we appreciate that. But fun topic of the day. If you had to enter a rodeo event, which rodeo event would you enter and why?
Full disclosure, I don't know shit about rodeos until he asked this question. I knew you rode a bull. That's the only one I ever knew of. So I had to do my own Googling to figure this out. But I have an answer. But why don't you kick us off,
Yeah,
Dan?
kick us off, Dan.
All right. So, I sent y'all this, and then I started questioning myself. I started questioning whether I wanted to go down the road of, is this something that I would just want to do, or is this something that I think that I could do well at?
No, I think
Which way did you take it?
I took it. I'm not
That you would want to do it?
I'm not a rodeo guy. I took it as if I walked into a rodeo and they're like, pick an event to participate in, this is what I would participate in. I'm not saying I'm going to be exceptionally good at it, but
See, I'm arrogant. I picked up one that I thought I would excel at.
that's a good way to look at it, though.
I don't know that I don't think I would, honestly, but it's one I thought I had the best chance of doing good at.
I think I took this question as which one would I enjoy the most?
All right,
that's how I took it. How'd you take it?
Like I said, I started questioning myself. So I can give you both answers.
I want both.
All right, yeah, give me both answers.
So one that I would just do if there was no outside pressure, because y'all know my wife, and she would not be happy with this one.
You're going to ride a bull, aren't you?
I'd ride a bull in a heartbeat.
100%. Would you?
In a heartbeat.
I would be absolutely terrified.
One time.
Yes, I would love to do a legit bull ride one time. Full face cage, like
oh yeah,
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, maybe I'm a pussy.
Does
but
the
whatever.
cage save me from getting my face smashed in, like 100%?
For the most part,
more or less.
It
better
lessens
than
the chances.
It's better than taking a back hoof to the face.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's why I wouldn't do a bull, because I'm like, I'm going to get stepped on and I'll have a hoof through my chest.
Right. No, I would definitely want to ride a legit bull one time, but that is not something I would want to do at all many times.
Well, I think that's where I know myself too. Like I would almost want to do it and get at least the wind knocked out of me when I come off. Because at that point,
you feel like you're a cowboy.
You feel alive.
Well, it's that, and I get the wind knocked out of me real good, I don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
if I did well,
you're like, oh, I'm pretty good at this.
and got off and didn't get like the wind knocked out of me or worse,
All right.
then I have a feeling that I'd want to do it a second time.
Yeah, 100%.
And every time you do it, that risk just goes up and up.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen these pictures of guys taking hoofs to the face and things like, oof. Their face never looks the same.
No, I don't want to. I don't subscribe to that. I don't want that.
No, so that's your.
That's one I would just do.
Not that you think you would be good at, but you would just do.
No, I don't think I'd last very long.
All right.
What? So what's your other one then?
The one I think could do well at, or at least be competitive, would be steer wrestling.
Oh, hot damn! That's what I picked.
Yeah, bulldogging.
I swear that's what I thought you were gonna say.
That's what I picked too.
That's kind of a big guy sport. You're jumping off the horse. You're
wrangling them to the ground,
and you're trying to turn a steer over. I mean, really quickly.
Yeah,
I would pay good ass money to watch that. I would love to see you do that.
The whole jump off the horse thing's a
little scary.
It's kind of like jumping out of a plane. Why would you jump out of a perfectly good airplane? But
I've done that too. So
have you really?
Yeah, I've been skydiving. It's fun.
Oh no, shit, that's cool.
Yeah, there's a place not too far we can do it.
Okay.
There's actually a place like 15 miles from here we can do it.
Yeah, I'd do it once.
All right.
Anyway, not to get off track. Go ahead, Cam.
All right, so mine was the same. I went steer wrestling too. I thought like I'm a relatively strong guy. I work out pretty consistently, so I was like, if I'm going to do any of these things,
I don't know. So I want to stop you right there because
don't talk about my show muscle.
Those show muscles. I mean, he's got a very good physique. But in the Stein hoisting competition,
I'm terrible.
You really shit the bed, bro. You disappointed me. I was expecting more.
That is true. I did witness that.
You did.
Anyway, continue.
All right, so yeah, steer wrestling. I mean, again, I did a little research because I don't know rodeos. It's not my thing. Also referred to as bulldogging. I did not know that. But basically, yeah, you're jumping off of a cow. The cow gets a few second head start. And then you take off with your horse. You're trying to jump off of him. You grab him by the horns. It's very specific. All four legs have to be pointing in the same direction to get him down to the ground. And yeah, I mean, moderately strong, so I think that would be my best chance to succeed in any rodeo event.
And momentum is your key there.
100%.
Yeah, I think both you guys would do pretty good at that, to be fair. But mine, I'm kind of going historical with mine because I don't think it's any surprise. I'm a diehard racing fan. So I'm gonna go barrel racing.
All right,
there you go.
I want to get on that horse. I want to go fast. I want to
now explain. I vaguely know what it is. Explain to me kind of what is barrel racing.
Yeah. So, or do you want to take it, Dan?
I want to see your take on this one.
I'm gonna give you my take, and then Dan will correct me when I inevitably say something incorrect. But based on the 3 videos that I watched on YouTube, it's essentially
you're an expert now.
Yeah, 100%. No. So it's a dirt arena. You have 3 barrels and like actual 55-gallon like drum barrels staged in kind of like a triangle configuration, and you're on top of a horse, and essentially you're timed to have the horse go out and essentially run around each barrel and then back through the chute, and the fastest time obviously wins.
So you're being a bitch. You're not even putting your life on the line. Dan and I are putting our life on the line. We're trying to wrestle cows, and you're just running on a horse.
I don't know, man. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that horse goes down or it does something weird, man, that thing could kill you.
Yeah, I mean, there is always that possibility. That's the thing with agriculture in general. There's always a chance of dying.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, that is you explained it basically right.
Yeah.
What is the? I've seen that one where the horse just tries to stop super sudden. What is that one called?
Oh,
that's cutting and reining.
No, is that a rodeo thing?
That is not a rodeo.
Not official.
Event.
Okay.
That's a commerce thing, right?
It's more on the like a horse show.
Gotcha.
Deal. But that kind of comes down to the Old West, and they do that to try to, if you're trying to cut cows out.
Gotcha.
And
is there any relevance to that today, or is that more of an old school thing, or is it just a show thing now?
I mean, that part of it itself is just a show thing, but it comes from, and they still do it if you're trying to sort a cow out or whatever, and it goes back and forth. You want that horse to be able to stop and turn on a dime.
Right.
Do you use a horse on the farm?
No.
You just stick with tractors, 4-wheelers, things like that?
Tractors, 4-wheelers. My cousins have some horses. Horses actually scare me.
Really? I don't blame you.
Because a cow, I can tell you what it's going to do before it does it. A horse, I don't have a clue.
So are they a little bit smarter?
Yeah, I'd say they're a little bit smarter.
Yeah.
And a cow's going to kick you with its back foot, and that's pretty much it.
So as long as you avoid that back foot, you're okay.
Or it could charge you, but you kind of know that's coming.
Yeah.
I'd argue a horse could do the same thing.
A horse can. That's why I'm scared of them.
Oh.
And are they
a
more
horse
likely?
is doing it with their back feet and their front feet.
Yeah, Dan's goal is just not to die.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's a solid goal in life in general. All right, so Dan and I are steer wrestling. You're barrel racing because you're scared, and we all at one time at least want to try a reel.
If I was going to pick a second one, I would want to do. I think I'd want to do calf roping. I think that'd be cool. I think the dexterity of trying to swing a lasso on the back of a horse and wrangle it and jump off the horse and tie it up like that.
I've seen your dexterity. Don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'd be good at it,
but you'd want to try it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, that's fair.
It seems like a kind of a cool skill that
and
involves
moderately safe, I guess.
Yeah,
as far as rodeos go.
Yeah, that's probably the second most safest one.
What's the first most safest?
Barrel racing.
Yeah, so Tyler's a bitch is what we're determining.
That's kind of the way we're going here.
I don't know. I'm thinking work smarter, not harder. But I mean,
but you don't make big money. The big money is riding.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was just about to bring that up. Barrel racing is. I think I personally love to watch it because it's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're not going to compete with bull riding, man. Like you want to see some action with bull riding. With barrel racing, if you see some action, probably shit went south.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, riding a bull, I don't know. That scares me.
Have you been to a rodeo, Cam?
I have not.
Oh, you need to go.
Yeah.
Dan's definitely been to rodeos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
and I do subscribe to the Cowboy channel, which my wife does not take too kindly to, because I will watch rodeo every night on TV.
Well, yeah.
Fun fact: when we moved to Tennessee, maybe 6-7 years ago, and we're coming up on Valentine's Day. I think I might need to take this one out of the bag here.
You should.
But our first me and Kate's first Valentine's Day date in Tennessee was going to the Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville, Tennessee, and watching the professional bull riding.
It's March 4th.
I know.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've never been. Can we make it a field trip?
We can make it a field trip.
Let's do it.
I'm always down.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. I know nothing about it. Is it kid friendly? Can I bring my kid?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Kid friendly. They got beer for the adults. It's
Yeah,
great.
we took Carson like 2 years ago.
Is it at Thompson Bowling again?
Yeah.
I'm sure
Okay.
it is. Yeah.
All right. Hell yeah. We're doing it then.
All right, let's go.
All right. Let's wrap that up. All right. So this is new. We're introducing a new segment to kind of wrap us up this week because we feel like we were just kind of ending it abruptly last time. So this new segment is our hot take of the week, and basically this can be about anything. So whatever your hot take of the week is, positive, negative, inspirational, motivational, whatever the heck it happens to be. So I'll start us off. Then I'll kick it over to Dan. We'll let Ty finish this up today. So my hot take of the week is mind your own damn business.
I love it.
What do I mean by this? All right, so what I mean is that we need to stop trying to change the world. Now, I see you're giving me a quizzical look here.
Yeah. I mean,
all right, bear with me. All right,
I'll let you continue, but
no, I welcome feedback. So I'm not advocating for being a lazy piece of shit who just kind of brings nothing of value to society. But I think we currently live in a society with social media now that puts everything on a pedestal. And we talked a bit about social media a few weeks ago. We always see kind of the greatness of everybody's lives, and it potentially makes you feel inferior that you're not doing enough in the world kind of thing. But in reality, most people live pretty average lives. 99% of the population is going to live pretty average lives. They're never going to make the news. They're just going to go about their daily job. And guess what? That's okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So we need to learn to mind our own business, take care of what we can take care of in our little world, and be content with that. Like I said, we're not all going to go down in the history books of civilization as someone who has made some great, welcoming, lasting impact on the world. But where you will go down is you're going to go down in the history books of your kids, your friends, and your family. So my hot take of the week is let's stop trying to live up to the fake reality that we see out there on social media, and let's start minding our own business and just kind of embracing our own kind of small little worlds around us.
yeah, I'll give you that. I agree with all of that.
All right,
Good
that's
for
my
you.
that's
I
my
like
hot
it.
take.
All right, Cowboy, you're up.
All right, so I'm gonna go a little different road here.
All right.
This is just an opinion of my own.
Yeah, that's a hot take. I like it.
That Will Ferrell is one of the best, if not the best, comedian actors of all time.
I do not argue with that one bit whatsoever.
I can see how people do not like Will Ferrell, but the people who love Will Ferrell are on another level.
What's your
And-
what's your favorite Will Ferrell movie?
Wait.
All right.
I want to guess. It's my favorite too. But
All right.
I here's the thing. I want it to be Dan's favorite, and I hope it is. I want to say it's Talladega Nights, but you're probably going to say Step Brothers.
No, I'm definitely Talladega Nights first.
Hell
All right,
yeah.
all right.
I knew I
Step
liked
Brothers
Cowboy.
is probably 2.
For me, I think I'm going Elf. Just because I'm a bit sentimental, like the Christmas spirit kind of thing, and he kills it in that.
Elf's a classic for
Yeah.
sure.
10
Yeah.
a.m. Santa's
10 a.m.
coming.
All right. No, that's
a good hot take.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
a good
that.
hot take. All right, I'm going to go a little different. We just came off a nice heavy metal concert this week. So my hot take of the week is the nuance of live music in that experience elevates the overall enjoyment of the music.
You know, I almost went with this.
Really?
I was actually thinking this while we were watching the concert. So yeah, Ty invited me to a Disturbed concert, and to be 100% honest, Disturbed is not my normal music. So I was like, yeah, sure. It was free tickets. It was Thursday night. I was like, why not? I've got nothing to do Friday, no big meetings or anything. So we went, and I was thinking that I prejudged it because you know you kind of how you have those preconceived
Sure.
notions. So I prejudged like what I was going to see in terms of people and just the environment, and I couldn't have been more wrong. I mean,
It was a fantastic concert. I think people can get into a weird kind of subset when they're listening to music, especially off of an album, because it's like it's just perfect. Everything's on pitch. It's 100%
Yeah.
correct. But to me, that's not real music. Real music is being able to get on stage and deliver a performance. And, you know, there's going to be nuances in how your voice reacts at a certain point of time. But in my opinion, I see that as a positive. I like to see the authenticity behind something.
Yeah.
And what I saw at the Disturbed concert was just 100% authentic. They performed phenomenally.
Yep.
And I wouldn't change anything about it. But I love picking out those little details within the performance that just elevates the song that you already know and
all right.
love.
So tell me the details you're thinking of because I might have a couple in my mind too.
So I'm not a huge fan of, you know, people preaching their political opinions on stage or whatever.
Okay, I know exactly where you're going.
Dave from Disturbed kind of had a little section where he walked up and he started talking for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, so just about kind of, you know, the heavy metal environment and the culture, and how he's like, I don't care about your political opinion. I don't care if you fall to the left or the right. I don't care if you're gay, straight, lesbian, whatever. Tonight we're all one. We are all here to enjoy the same thing. And we saw all different walks of life at that concert.
And that's what I said. I prejudged it going in because I mean, you know what heavy metal music is, and I've heard Disturbed, but it's just not my normal cup of tea.
Sure.
So it was interesting.
But no, I mean, beyond the little, the speech he gave, I mean, just the nuances in his voice and everything like that throughout the song. You could tell that there's differences between that and the album, but I liked the live version a lot better because I'm physically watching it. It's authentic and nobody's perfect. So that's what I like to see.
And I also like to judge that to me tells me how good somebody is.
Yeah.
If their sound is similar or very close on the live concert versus the album, if it's totally different, to me, all that tells me is whoever did
You
your
use good
recording,
technology.
they was really
Yeah.
good at their job.
Yeah.
And I'll say, like, that whole night, even with the 2 opening bands, I didn't hear a missed note, period. I'm not saying that they screwed up a pitch or something like that, because I didn't pick up any of that. But it's just cool to evaluate the live version versus the recorded version and comparing the two and kind of parroting off what Dan said. If those things are like pretty damn similar, you have a really, really good performer in front of you, and you need to kind of live in that moment and enjoy it. And
And it's the same thing with how they put on the show. I mean, if they're
The
enthusiastic,
theatrics of that
yes.
show was they had fire the whole time. I was impressed.
it was amazing.
and that's like for me, like some of the best country artists that I know of was like Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
Garth Brooks puts on a hell of a show.
Yeah.
I went to Cody Johnson last year. Cody Johnson is a new age Garth Brooks.
Is he?
It is a hell of a show. Tyler Childers that me and Cam went to
Yeah.
like a month ago. Tyler puts on
A hell of a show.
show.
Are you going in April?
No.
You're not?
No.
Didn't get any tickets?
No,
It's not too
I
late.
looked at tickets, but I'm not paying $800 for.
Oh, are they that high?
That's where they're at right
See,
now.
I got them when they went on sale, so I only paid like $120 each or something like that. But all right, so who, if you had to pick your concert that you've been to, who sounds closest to what they actually sound like on record, who do you think it would be?
Tyler Childers is probably.
I was gonna pick the same.
guy.
Man, I want to go see Tyler Childers live.
Listen, buy some tickets. We're going in a month and a half.
All right, we'll take a look at that. Anyway, don't want to get too off track.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think it's a good point to break it off.
Yep.
Again, we appreciate Cowboy Dan for coming on the show. I think
He will be back.
Yeah, he'll definitely be back, and I think this is something that we kind of want to incorporate ongoing, not every week, but maybe every other week, every couple weeks. Have a special guest on the show to talk about something specifically related to their field that they can give us a little bit more insight on. So if you like this episode or you have any suggestions for future guests that you want to see on the show, definitely give us a shout out at Lagers and Loudmouths at gmail.com. But we appreciate y'all listening in to episode 8, and we will see you guys in a couple weeks. Stay safe out there.
Thank you for tuning in to Lagers and Loudmouths. Be sure to never miss an episode by subscribing to us on your favorite podcast streaming service. If you would like to provide feedback or suggest a topic for a future episode, please reach out to us at logersandloudmouths@gmail.com.